Morning, people. How's it going? What you saying? Check me. I've got a countdown now and everything. I'm a proper streamer. Music, the lot. Morning, AK. All right, pal. Who else have we got? Nizat, morning, mate. Josh, good morning. Yeah, smash the likes up, people. Let's get it running up. I know it's early doors. I know a lot of people probably still be in bed. Our American boys will definitely still be in bed. So hopefully they can catch up with us a bit later on. Morning, boys. Morning, Duke. So, as you can see, we've got a special guest on today. We've got Mr. Matt Kerr, the Swiss Army knife of City personalities. He's here, there, and everywhere. If you've not seen him already, you need to get to know. Part of the City Ramble, I believe. Journalist, football writer. He's on Sky Sports. He's on Talk Sport. The guy's everywhere, man. How's it going, Matt? It's good to have you on, mate.
I'm good, mate. I'm blushing now, to be fair, after all that. Thank you very much for the kind words. Yeah. But great to be on. Great to be here. What better way to start a weekend than talking all things City, eh?
Exactly. And talking about all things City, our fortunes have uplifted slightly in the last 7 days. Well, slightly, I'd say a lot considering the Brighton and Spurs results. So obviously, we were in a bit of a hole after the Brighton game. I mean, I'm a very emotional fan, Matt, and I know that you City Ramble boys over there are a lot more logical in your way of thinking a lot of the time. So it's like nice to have a bit of yin and yang. So I like people bringing a bit of parliamentary procedure to the channel every now and again without just me crashing out. So how are you feeling, first of all, about how we've looked over the derby, over the Brighton, not the Brighton game, over the Napoli game? What are your overall thoughts of how we're looking now going into this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the reaction we wanted after the international break, wasn't it? Yeah, we can't complain. We've not conceded any goals. We've beat our rivals, and we've beaten the best team in Italy. So for me, it's as good as we can ask for, really. And the performances have been there. It's not like we've just got the win. We've looked really impressive as well. I mean, United, there was so much going into it, wasn't there? There was the whole Ricky Hatton thing. There was Phil Foden was back in the team. There was so much emotion and everything. All the stars aligned on the day, didn't they?
I think that's what we need. What we kind of needed going into that United game, wasn't it? I know a lot of people were happy with the international break for once after the run of form that we were in. So it was probably a little bit of a blessing in disguise. But I remember saying before that United game, being at the game, the whole uplift of everything that had happened with Ricky Hatton, seeing Phil Foden back in the team, I think it did play a massive impact into how the players performed. I mean, the crowd was the best I've heard it for years.
It was unreal, wasn't it?
The crowd was really, really up for it. And I think the players felt that. And you saw it in the performance, didn't you? So that's just what we needed. And like I say, I said after that game, that's the start of our season now. We've got to try and kick on from there. That was a great result, obviously, against our big rivals. And then the Napoli game was a little bit of a weird one, wasn't it? Obviously. Yeah. I keep telling myself, I don't know whether I'm just a really negative guy, man, but there's something in the back of my head that is just telling myself, like, I really wish we would have just done that against 11 men. Do you know what I mean? Do you know where I'm coming from?
I know what you mean.
That? Yeah.
But I was saying this to my mate leaving the ground. He was like, he literally said what you just said, like, it was 10 men, so, whatever. But I said, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, sometimes it makes it even harder when it's 10 men. Cause,
I do agree.
Don't get me wrong, I know a Conte team with 11 men, it is basically playing like he's already had a sending off, do you know what I mean? So it's all defence, but, there was very, very little gaps for us. And it took that moment of absolute genius from Foden, didn't it? Which I'm sure we'll get onto, that little dink. Yeah. Like, not many players will be able to get a breakthrough there. Not many teams would be able to score against that Napoli team. So
yeah,
I think it was just as impressive. And going into Arsenal, who are, as we know,
for sure,
basically
probably a similar
Sean
setup,
Dyche
you could
ball.
say. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
like
probably a similar setup that you'd expect us to face against Conte. A lot of men behind the ball. I do completely understand it, and I think I said this straight after the game on Thursday as well, that for sure it was a lot harder to score after they'd gone down to 10, because they weren't pressing high anymore. They had all the 10 players behind the ball. It was a lot harder to break them down. But my only concern was that we wasn't having a lot coming the other way. Do you know?
Yeah.
We spent a lot of the game with Ruben Diaz on the ball, Guardiola on the ball, Cousinov on the ball, and it was kind of in that area in between the halfway line and the Napoli goal, wasn't it? But I understand for sure that it would have been harder to score, and it did feel like that after a while in the game, because we were having the chances, and a couple of them had gone wide, or like Haaland had missed the header. And I kind of had it in the back of my head. I was like, I don't want another like Arsenal 2-2 from last year, where it was just crossing into the box. But
it felt like it was going that way, didn't it? It did feel like it was going that way.
But maybe that's the difference now, because obviously we got it done in the end, didn't we? So how was you feeling when that was happening up until half time?
Well, I as soon as the red card went up, like when it happened, I was just like, well, here we go. Like the goal's going to come any minute. Like I'm looking at the clock, and I don't know when the red card was, like 20 minutes, something like that. Obviously, then Kev goes off, gets a little applause. I'm thinking, right, here we are, party time. Let's get the goal difference up. And I know that sounds a bit big-headed, but anytime a team goes down to 10 men, you think, well,
it matters, doesn't it? The goal difference.
Yeah, of course. And then the closer and closer it got to half time, I'm thinking, ooh, okay. I was expecting us to at least be 1-0 up by this point, and then at half time, everyone I chatted to in the concourse, it was just like, the sooner we get one in the second half, the better. Then the second one will come and whatever, and obviously it did. But in that first half, I was like, bloody hell, like where's this goal coming from? Because you said before, everyone was coming so close, and it was just.
Did it feel quite negative when you was having these conversations at halftime? Were people saying like, "Oh, I don't think we're going to get one," or what was the feeling around where you were sat and the guys you're around?
No. To be fair, everyone was kind of like, it's a matter of time, but obviously it's just frustrating to watch. Like when you mentioned like last season, someone definitely said that Arsenal game, it's going to be everyone defending, and you've got Ruben Diaz like just spraying the passes. Obviously that didn't happen too much, because obviously Foden and Doku just turned it on, didn't they?
Of course,
and that was the difference. But not too negative. It just felt like it was a matter of time. But I think if it got to like 70, 80 minute territory, I think it would have been quite frustrating then, to be fair.
Squeaky bum time, and I feel like that's
squeaky bum time. Yeah,
I feel like that's when City start trying to force it a little bit too much as well. In that if it gets past that stage, 70, 80th minute, that's when we've become Cross-Chester City and just try and put balls into the box constantly. And Arsenal, like you said last year, were just happy for Ruben Diaz and Kyle Walkers to have the ball, and then obviously don't put the best delivery into the box. They were shooting from 25 yards every time they was getting it, and I seen Napoli were trying to adopt similar tactics where they were letting Diaz have the ball. But it was good to see us get over that hump and be able to get the ball in the back of the net in the end. So let's come on to those individual performances then, because obviously there were some great performances on Thursday night. I know you've touched on him already, but 2 games back now for Phil Foden. Arguably 2 man of the match performances. I know other people have been good as well, but it just feels so much better and moving forward now with Phil in the team and in form, doesn't it? How are we feeling about Phil at the moment?
I'm absolutely buzzing. Normally I'm in my little Man City bubble, but the amount of people that I've heard and been seeing online, you've probably seen yourself, of just writing Phil Foden off based off one off season. And he's just come back with a bang and just shut everyone up straight away. And he's playing with a smile on his face as well. Which last season, don't know the lad, but he didn't look happy at all, did he?
Not one bit.
And he is that type of player. If he's happy, he's confident, and when he's confident, he tries these crazy things that no footballers can do. I.e., that assist against Napoli, finding Haaland. No one else can do that on the pitch. But absolutely buzzing. Absolutely
he just
buzzing.
looks like he's one of those players that I just love so much, because I feel like in the first 3 games, a lot of my criticisms came from people not wanting to get on the ball enough or grab the game by the scruff of its neck, or, do you know, have the confidence to just put their head above the parapet and be counted when we face adversity. And Phil Foden, the one thing that I love about him more than anything is he's constantly looking to get on the ball and do something with it, isn't it? He's always asking for it. He's popping up all over the pitch. And we've missed this so much, people that want to get on the ball and want to create something. Now, people have always had a little bit of conversation at whether Phil has got that creative gene. Like, we obviously know he's an amazing goal scorer. He's probably the guy we rely on the most to chip in with goals after Erling Haaland. But there's always been that thing whether he can be the creator that we had in Kevin De Bruyne. And I feel like the last few games, especially when he's been picking up these central areas that Pep's allowed him to, he showed that he has got that in his locker as well, hasn't it? Obviously, it's a lot more difficult from the wing when he's playing, because a lot of that's around him cutting in on his left foot and banging a shot away, isn't it? Yeah. But when he can pick up these areas, I just feel like he can bring that side of his game out a little bit more. Do you agree with that? Like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, for one, when you mention him on the wing, I think a lot of the time he has, and last season as well, he was kind of, squeezed out into the wing just to fit into the team. You know what I mean? But his best position is behind Haaland, and there's no surprise that him being in that position in them central areas, he's making a difference, and that's where he had such success when he won the PFA Player of the Year. Not last year, year before.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's no surprise. Him being confident, happy, and playing in his best position. I'm not surprised that he's looking brilliant. I would say my only concern going into Arsenal is that I can't remember. I think I saw a stat like he's not played. It was either not 90 minutes or back-to-back games since like February or something. Right. So it's been a while since he's played a lot of 2 consistent games. So obviously I want him to start, but is he going to be able to offer that type of performance again? For the 3rd time in a week after barely playing that much football. Yeah, and you could probably say the same for a few of the players. You know what I mean? But that'd be my only concern for Phil.
That was one of the things that I know I'd spoke about before the Napoli game. I'd been on here speaking about my predicted team. I know a lot of other people in the scene as well. I was very, very surprised, Matt, to be honest, to see that we'd gone unchanged for Napoli. I was expecting that to be the game where we did have a little bit of rotation looking forward to that Arsenal game. I don't know whether you felt similar. I thought Rodri might have come out, Guardiola might have come out, and Foden, just to give the legs a rest, being freshly back. Did you feel like that might have been the right decision going into the game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't, don't get me wrong. When I saw the team sheet, I was like, nice one. Let's have it. Let's go again. Yeah. We all try and think in Pep's head, and the logical thing was to rest a few of them guys ahead of Arsenal, but he literally always says, doesn't he? Like, we're taking it game by game, or we're only thinking of the next game. And quite literally, he was only thinking about Napoli, because there was there's no thinking for Arsenal there if you're playing all them guys again. I mean, exactly. Roger did come off, didn't he? I think 60th minute, something 50th minute. Yeah. So he's got a little bit. I mean, whether he's going to be fit or not is another thing. But I think Phil played the whole 90 minutes again. I was like watching him towards the end of the game.
Very surprised.
How are you still on the pitch, mate? How are you still
Especially
on the pitch?
Especially with 10 men. You'd think that, well, obviously, I think he did that with Rodri, the fact that he had 10 men and we were looking relatively comfortable. Luckily, he was able to bring him off, because I think if we was in a position where it was a close game, he probably would have ended up playing 90 minutes as well. Because I thought he looked knackered on Sunday against United, Rodri. So I was very
he did.
With especially him starting on Thursday. But then again, City fans have always been super critical of Pep sometimes as well. The fact that he does rotate a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's true.
Things up. So finally, we get him going back to back, building a team, an 11 up that are going to get confident playing with each other. And we're all still having a little bit of a moan about it.
Yeah, I know. There's always something to point the finger at. But I think it's good what you just said, with the keeping the same team so they could build a bit of momentum together, because we've got so many new players, like not even in the summer, January as well. Like there's so many new players, and especially like Kusanov, who, by the way, some player.
I think he deserves his own. I think he deserves his own little segment, to be honest, Matt. So that segue us perfectly into it. I know I've been singing this guy's praises from the rooftops. Not even just this year. I was calling for him to be in the starting 11 for the majority of last year after he came into the squad. Even just after seeing him that couple of times, I just think he suits the way that Pep wants to line his back four up to the ground. All right. A lot of the time we was getting caught in transitions last year because of our lack of pace in that back four. If we were losing the ball in midfield, boom, next minute, the opposition strikers throw on goal. And I think Kuznov, whether he plays right back, whether he plays centre back, whether he even plays left back if you need him to, he just eliminates that threat, doesn't he? So in my opinion now, I say, no matter what position it is, Kuznov should be the first name in that back four team sheet on a weekly basis for me. I genuinely think he's that good. What are your thoughts on him over the well? I mean, it's been 6 months now that he's been here, but especially this season, he's really starting to come into his own, isn't he?
Yeah, listen, like he's already one of my favourite players. Like he gives it absolutely everything. You know, you saw in the derby some of the tough challenges. He was absolutely just throwing his body in the line. And I actually did a video about comparing him to Zabaleta. Don't get me wrong, he's very different in some aspects, but the way he plays the game with like the passion.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so Zabaleta, that derby performance, which as City fans we absolutely love, obviously. But I think you're right. He's got to be one of the first names in the team sheet now, just because of what he offers. Like the last 2 games, I don't think he's really made many mistakes. He's put in some fantastic challenges, shown how important his pace is. You know, when there's teams counter-attacking or whatever, and Arsenal, we know they've got pace. That Gyökeres, Martinelli, whoever plays, they're all quick up front for Arsenal. So he's going to be important. I'd like to see, but I mean, I don't know what you think. We've not really got much of a right back option. I would love to see Kuznov and Gvardiol centre halves together at some point, but then it's who's right back.
Exactly. I think that's the sticky situation that we find ourselves in a little bit at the moment, isn't it? Where, I don't know, I was backing Núñez to do a half decent job this year. And then he did that to me in the Brighton game with the...
I know.
He could have the perfect game, Núñez. Like, I rate him on the whole as an all-round better right back than Rico Lewis, in my opinion. I just think he's got a little bit more to his game, physicality-wise, pace-wise. But the one thing that Núñez has got is an absolute howler in his locker. And we don't know when it's going to come. We don't know whether it'll be 5 games away, 10 games away.
But it will come.
10 minutes, but it's going to come. And you've just got to pray. You've just got to pray that it doesn't come in big moments like it did in the Brighton game, like it did in the derby last year. So that is the sticky situation that you find yourself in, because in the big games, I do think we will see a lot of Kuznov at right back. For that insurance policy kind of thing.
We saw it last season, didn't we, at the Bernabeu? Like, he just got thrown in, and he did a half decent job up against Vinicius Junior. So if that weren't enough for people to realise, then out, because that loads of people, when they hear Kuznov's name, it's the Chelsea debut, innit? That shaky start.
It's the same with the media as well, innit? I don't know how.
Yeah, it's like no one rates him. It's strange, but you know what? I don't mind him going under the radar, because that means no clubs are ever going to be interested in him. He's just ours forever. That's fine by me. That's fine by me.
Exactly. Because I genuinely think this guy could be one of the best in the world in a couple of years.
I'm with you.
And like you say, we've got 2 young centre-backs there. People forget how young Josko Gvardiol still is. We could build a centre-back partnership here for the next 10 years plus.
Easily.
So even if we're looking at Kuznov filling in at right back quite a lot this season, I think the plan is always going to be to eventually get Kuznov and Gvardiol together to fill in those centre-back positions. With hopefully full backs coming in at some point.
God.
It won't
one day.
It wouldn't surprise me if we end up seeing Josko back at left back for a few games as well, if needs be. Especially with Aït-Nouri out injured. If obviously he's going to the AFCON as well. Nico Riley's done a great job there. Don't get me wrong, but again, a little bit. I don't know whether he'll be fully trusted in the huge games we're talking about in the Champions League against the Liverpools and your Arsenals. So
I know.
It's going to be a lot of
chopping
and changing, I think, because of the situation we've left ourselves in with the lack of fullbacks, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's the Aït-Nouri. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's not his fault, like. But before his injury, I thought in the Brighton game he had an absolute shocker, and even in the Spurs game he had an absolute shocker as well. So like, I don't think he'd really be playing in these games. Maybe he would have played against Napoli, but I don't think we'd be playing Aït-Nouri against Arsenal anyway. And I agree with you. I think O'Reilly, as great as he's been the last 2 games, is he really the guy that you put up against Saka or Madueke? I'm not really sure. Yeah. And then I was thinking Gvardiol probably left back, and then maybe do you bring Ake in? Maybe.
Yeah.
But when he came on against Spurs, didn't he, for the last 10, 15? And I remember turning to my dad and going, "Oh my God, like his legs."
He don't look the same player, does he, Ake? Yeah.
No.
Especially
like
when
over
he's
summer,
back,
like.
Yeah. Especially when he's running back towards his own goal. I feel like he's a second away from one of these hamstrings popping, and that in turn makes him look like he's trying to hold back a little bit. So it is a tricky situation that we find ourselves in. Obviously,
but I suppose there's John Stones as well. There's John Stones. Like, is he going to be fit? Is he going to be fit for the game? So,
but I guess it's I'd say a good position for us to be in, because I feel like we were absolutely scraping the barrel last year to put a back four together with our injuries. And obviously we've not been as fortunate this year. We're obviously with a few players coming into the squad and going straight out injured again, like Aït-Nouri and like Cherki as well. But I still feel like we have still got quite a decent core of defenders that are, whether they're not fit right now, like your Stones, they're not far off. Do you know what I mean? Because to be honest, I'm surprised that the Stones and Ake are both still here, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I was really surprised to see them both stick around, and I know Akanji's performances weren't great last season by any means, and I understand why he was moved on, but from a City perspective, I don't understand how they look at Ake and Stones' injury records and go, yeah, Akanji had a couple of injuries last year, but nowhere near to the amount of Ake or Stones. So I don't really understand why they made that decision and didn't even test the waters for a Mark Gahey towards the end of the deadline. You know what I mean? When it was clear that he was like happy to,
because you could have leveraged Akanji into that deal, really, because the only reason why Gahey didn't go to Liverpool in the end was because they wasn't getting their man to replace him, wasn't it? Did Palace have someone lined up to come in for Gahey?
Was that Igor from Brighton? But he went West Ham like last minute or something, didn't he?
So they missed out on that, and then that's what made them pull the plug on the deal to Liverpool then. But if we had a player there ready, and there was a few Palace whispers around Akanji throughout the summer as well.
There was, So
I feel like that could have been hijacked in the end. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I am a little bit frustrated how we did address the defensive options in the summer. I am convinced that if we really wanted Livramento, we could have got him.
I think so. I think it just would have been like a ridiculous fee. Don't get me wrong. I think he is the right player for us, but I don't know. Like I know we've got the money, but they were talking like 90 mil maybe for a full back. But I suppose you've got to now. You've got
to like look at what Liverpool are doing and look at what the other teams are doing. And I think we had to look at our transfer window on a whole and think about the money that was saved in the Reijnders deal, in the Aït-Nouri deal, and in the Cherki deal. You've got 3 potentially world-class ceilings there for around 30-40 million. Like all 3 of those.
That's a good way of looking at it, yeah.
Exactly. So if you look at the transfer window as a whole and add the 90 million Livramento to that, and then you've got the whole wage budget spent on those 4 players, it doesn't actually break down that badly, considering the bargains that we've got for the players that came in. So I do wish we would have pushed that a little bit more, because even watching Livramento in the first 3 games for Newcastle, I think he's been, if not the best player in the first. That's playing out of position at left back as well, so he can do both sides for us. But again, you never know.
It was like for England as well. I think he was playing left back, and he against Serbia, and he looked brilliant in that game as well. Like he clearly is an amazing talent. It's just a shame we didn't pinch him, when he was at Southampton a couple of years ago. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not my money, but it would have been a lot cheaper, a lot easier. Because Newcastle, now they've lost Isak, they're going to be, even in the next few windows, they're going to be very difficult to negotiate with for any of their players, really, because their pride and their. It's been completely hit.
It's been hurt this year. Yeah, all the deals they've missed out on. Obviously, the Isak thing going on. And I think Liverpool's only going to get better this year as well. So I think it's going to add even more millions to the deal.
It probably will, mate. Yeah,
so,
probably will.
We're going to find ourselves in a bit of a sticky position, I think. Let's talk about one of the other new signings who, for me, has been a little bit hit and miss so far this season. I did see better signs out of him on Thursday, I think. Tijjani Reijnders, we'll speak about. Yeah. Obviously, probably one of the first names on the team sheet currently for the first 4 games. He can fill in the 8 role. He's looked decent, picking up positions as like a 10 as well. What are your thoughts on Tijjani's time at City so far?
I mean, I think his start against Wolves, obviously, it was very, very easy for us all to get very overexcited.
Yeah, but, for sure.
And he was probably the same, you know. He was probably like, bloody hell, I didn't see this coming. Yeah, this is great. Easy, this Premier League stuff, yeah. And then, obviously, when the team weren't performing so well against your Tottenham and your Brighton, he found it very difficult. He was losing the ball a lot. I think Brighton especially, he seemed like a second behind mentally.
Yeah, off the pace a little bit. I completely agree.
Yeah. And listen, I don't watch that much Serie A, but I believe it's much more of a, you know, you've got more time of the ball type of thing. So maybe it's the case that he's just adapting to the Premier League in terms of the speed and everything, which is probably likely. Or it could be nerves. I don't know, because listen, against Spurs and Brighton, everyone around him was making mistakes, whereas Wolves, everyone was doing everything right. So maybe he's looking around and going, yeah, I can do a bit of this, but I don't know if there's something in that, but I really like him, and I think against Napoli he showed once again not quite how good he was against Wolves, but it was a glimpse of his quality again.
There definitely was glimpses for sure.
You know, he came. I think early on, he just took a shot from range, and it tested the keeper pretty decently, and that was a sign early doors that I was like, okay, yeah, right, you're not off the boil. You just had 2 iffy games. You still got your head in the game, type of thing. But I really like him. I think he's going to be a great player for us for years to come. Just how long it's going to take for him to, you know, properly stamp his spot in the team. You know,
I completely agree with you. I think that is my main criticism, where he does seem a little bit slow on the ball, a little bit slow to release it. I feel like he's still playing Serie A football, where he seems to have a couple more seconds on the ball than what you do get in the Premier League. So people are kind of forcing him into misplaced passes by putting him under pressure, or someone's either nicking the ball away from him in midfield. But one thing that I do like that I've seen from him that I've not seen for a while in a City player, probably go back to like when Gundogan was in his prime. I think his movement off the ball has been fantastic. Like, there's one thing that Tijjani Reijnders has done consistently all these games is he's popping up into goal-scoring situations. So he's running beyond Haaland. He's box crashing. He's making these Frank Lampard-esque ghosting runs into the box and arriving at the right time. And there's been a couple of times, especially against Napoli the other day, where the ball had fell to him in the box and just the finish hadn't gone quite right. But he could have very easily come away with a brace in that Napoli game if he did get his shot away a little bit faster or made a little bit of a cleaner connection on the ball. But that is what I've liked from him so far. And it's a very rare trait to have as a central midfielder, I think. So if that side of the game where his passing does speed up a little bit and he does just get things ticking over a little bit quicker, I think he could be one of the best midfielders in the world if that does click. Because he's going to score a lot of goals, this guy, with his movement off ball.
He is.
So yeah, that's my main thing so far.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but like what you're saying, like his movement off the ball and stuff, like it's a matter of time before he starts scoring consistently. You know, like I've got him in my FPL team. First week went very well. Last few not so much, but I think long term he's going to be getting the goals and the assists. Like he's cheap obviously on the game, but he's going to at some point, like, you know, he's picking up these positions and you know, now you've not got Kevin De Bruyne in the team. Obviously Foden's back to form, but there's spaces there for other players to come in and take their claim on the team, and especially Cherky being injured. You know, you don't know if Cherky was fit where Reijnders would be. You don't know where everything would be. But listen, for me, I think he's got to start against Arsenal, because he's definitely one of our best midfielders.
There has been a few whispers, hasn't there, whether people, I wouldn't say drop him, but I think people, because it's at the Emirates, because it's against Arsenal, I think if people are talking about maybe Nico G coming in next to Rodri, I've seen it be Reijnders' name that's getting bounded about a little bit for the guy who comes out. I personally don't think that's probably the right decision to make so early on to take that faith in him away in such a big game.
Yeah.
But that's kind of been the guy who's been whispered about potentially being the guy to drop out if needs be. But I don't think it's the right decision. I don't know. Do you think he's a shoo-in to start on Sunday?
To be fair, I mean, I would like him to start, but I don't think it's that nailed on, because saying Nico Gonzalez, like, say Rodri does start, I wouldn't hate the pair of them playing alongside each other. Just that physicality and that defensive assurance compared to Reijnders, I think would make a lot of sense against Arsenal. But then are we then fighting against Arsenal, trying to play like Arsenal? Do you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, exactly.
Defensive midfielders, because then that kind of stinks of a 0-0
bit of a stalemate, yeah. Because you're just trying to put people who are similar physicality and athleticism against like your Declan Rices to cancel each other out, and it takes away that kind of creative side of the game, then, doesn't it? So if we do see that, then I urge you all to put money on a 0-0 as a backup.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, I've got it as a draw anyway. I'm going like 1-1. I don't know what you think, but whether it's Reijnders, Foden, Rodri, or Nico, Rodri, whatever it is, I just I don't think I think for me, Arsenal have had the best start to the season. I know they're not top of the league, but I think they look the best. Liverpool, their luck's got to run out at some point.
I don't know how they're in the position that they're in. I genuinely,
it's absolutely ridiculous, mate.
Yeah, 5 games, 5 late goals. It's absolutely crazy, mate. I genuinely can't believe we're in this position where we could be 9 points behind them after the weekend.
I know, but we're so early in the season, though. We're so early in the season. So much can happen. We've got to. Yeah. I know we don't really win at Anfield, but we've still got to play them twice. We've obviously we're playing Arsenal tomorrow, but we've got to play Arsenal twice. Like, there's so much that can happen. Salah could do his ACL tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anything can happen in football. So as long as we continue our form, continue looking like the City we know and love, I back us. As long as we're in the mix March, April, I still back us, to be fair. I really do.
Yeah, love it, mate. Love it. I don't see why not, for sure. Especially because of how unimpressed I've been with the other teams so far. Yeah, especially Liverpool. That I keep saying, I've said it after every game, definitely after the second game. This cannot be sustainable for a whole season, but yet they still go and do it the next game. So when will it end? I just need it to end now.
But we are.
That's a potential stumbling block in an hour and a half.
Hey.
So
is Jack Grealish going to do us a favour there? I wouldn't mind that at all.
Imagine the
I wouldn't mind that at all. Go on, Jack. Go on.
Yeah, that would be nice. So before we get on to Arsenal and what we kind of expect from the game, I know we've touched on it a little bit. I just wanted to touch on one more. Everyone obviously knows how good Erling Haaland's doing. I think that goes without saying. But a guy who's come under a lot of criticism the last couple of years, especially from one of your colleagues on the City Ramble, Joe Butters, who everyone knows in the chat. We've got to speak about Jeremy Doku, because I've personally been a backer of his whole time at City. I think he's been that little bit of composure away from being a world-class winger, because in my opinion, he's the best in the world at being able to beat his defender 1v1. And if that little bit of composure and calmness in the final third does come, I think he'll be absolutely unstoppable. And he's shown that in the last 2 games. How are your feelings? Well, first of all, what were your feelings before the season on Jeremy Doku? And have they changed now after the last few games?
So I've always been very frustrated by Doku, like most people. But I've never once gone, I don't think he's good enough for City. Like I'm with you in the sense that I do think he's got a truly world-class talent in 1v1. Beating his man, getting it down. But then it's that final ball, that decision making. It's like he gets overexcited, he gets too giddy that he's beat his man, and then he goes, and sits it, and it's like, mate, just take a second. And I even saw against Napoli, there was a moment where Doku's got it, and he's shifted his body, and he's looking like, I'm gonna do it, and I saw Ruben Dias was going like putting his arms out like slow, and then he was like, oh, okay, yeah, take a touch, pass it back. He was like, it's like he needs to be reminded, like, you know, you don't always have to be all gung ho, just running. It's just take a touch, take the sting out of it a little bit. So, but yeah, the last two games, like wow, like they're easily his best two games in a City shirt. I'd say the United one was his best game in a City shirt, but I think his goal against Napoli was
unbelievable.
His best moment. Oh my god, I saw someone online say that's like Eden Hazard-esque, and I think that's very fair to say. The way he just like if you look at it at the start, he's at the edge of the area looking that way, and then a couple seconds later, he's
literally his little shimmy and it's gone, and little shimmy, boom, it's gone.
It's unreal, and you know, I was in work last night, and I was a lad at work with. He's a Liverpool fan, and he was saying, you know, as good as our forward line is, we've got no one like Doku. And then we're going around the league like Arsenal. They haven't really got anyone like Doku, like who can just maybe Madueke 1v1 is pretty decent, but like no one who's that like agile and that like, you know, on his day he's impossible to defend against. Like he 100%. really is. But that's the thing, his day doesn't come often enough.
Exactly,
it really doesn't.
It is a consistency thing, isn't it, with him?
It is. I said to my pal, he's obviously had 2 good games now. I need to see 5 in a row for me to be like,
I'm with you.
Not now. It doesn't have to be now, but this season he needs to have it because you know his third. I know he's young, but it's his 3rd season. Like it has to come, that consistent run.
It's got to come this year, I think, mate. I think if it doesn't
yeah.
come this year, then it'll probably be on his way. Because he has had a long enough time now to cement his place in this team. Have you seen something a little bit different? And I know I have personally, and I've spoke about this a little bit. Have you seen things a little bit different with how we're using Doku recently? I feel like he's coming central a lot more than he used to last year. Last year, it all seemed to be fullback at the fullback, try and cross from the byline with his left foot. Whereas I see him a lot more now. I don't know whether this is a Pep Linders thing or a little tweak from Pep. He's coming into these central areas where nowadays, if he gets a defender 1v1 and does his thing and beats him, rather than being on the byline now trying to cross with his left foot, he's through on goal or he's in the 6-yard box. Like the United game, boom, pass Shaw, in a position just inside, pretty much in the 6-yard box on the right-hand side, across to Foden for the goal. The Napoli game, he's picked up the ball in a central area, boom, past the defender, and he's through on goal with a 1v1. Now, these are it's a lot better positions for him to be in, to be able to get the G&A that everyone's been calling for. Have you noticed like the little tweaks that we've seen in the team to kind of maybe pick Doku up a little bit more this year?
Definitely, I think that's a fair point. He's a lot more central, and ultimately, if he's more central, he's close to the goal, isn't he? But it still is that decision making. He can still be at the edge of the area, and he can still have a bozo moment. You know what I mean? He still needs to have that composure. But one thing I'd say when you were saying that was obviously he was a lot further out wide last season. One thing I would always defend Doku with, especially last season, it always felt like he was quite isolated. Like he was never given that much support. I know we've never always had for example, like an attacking left back or someone who could do overlapping runs or something like that. But even the midfielders, it always felt like, right, what we'll do, we'll give Jeremy the ball because he's good 1v1. Like he can do his thing, and we'll all get in the box or something. And then obviously he loses the ball. But this season it looks like there's that support, and I don't know whether that's because he's more further in field, and then you've got the space for an O'Reilly to occupy, and I don't know whether it's that, but it seems that he's getting the support around him now.
I completely agree, mate.
You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I'm just repeating myself, but he seemed so isolated at times last season, and ultimately you need to help. And a lot of the time, players especially, don't you?
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of the time as well, it was always just get the ball into Haaland, try and get the ball into Haaland. Yeah. And this year now, what I've seen is there's always an extra pass on with your Reijnders, with your Fodens. They're kind of picking up this. Doku will pick up the ball on the left-hand side and 2 defenders will go over to him because you've got to double up on Doku or he's going to skin you, aren't they? Now, when that second defender goes across, they're leaving kind of a little space inside the area there. Where I have seen the likes of Foden and Tijjani Reijnders picking up those areas. Reijnders had a chance on his left foot on Thursday from picking up that exact area where he took on his right foot and banged straight away. So I feel like he's got more than one option now to just square his 2 defenders up, have a look up. Is he looking for Haaland? Is he looking for that nice inside pass into that area that's been left by the two defenders for a Foden and Reijnders chance? So I just feel like Pep's giving him just a little bit more now to work with rather than going Doku and pray. Give him the ball. Let's hope he beats two people and get it into Haaland, which I thought
that's literally what it felt like.
And last year, yeah.
And to be fair, as well, like you've kind of touched on it there, but you know, it was kind of the only target in the box was Haaland, whereas now in the box we've got, even O'Reilly was in the box at times against Napoli. You've got Reijnders going into the box. I remember in the derby, like Doku squared it to him, and he probably should have scored on another day. You know, there's way more support, and you know, long may it continue, long may his form continue, because I think Doku at his best is genuinely one of the best wingers in the league, and I think a lot of fullbacks probably have nightmares thinking about. Like, I know Mazraoui will be. I know he's probably had a few sleepless nights in the last week. Bloody hell!
I think he did an interview about it last year, didn't he? Ola Reiner at Forest. I don't know whether you've seen it.
Yeah.
Where he was asked who the worst winger is to face in the Premier League, and he said Doku, didn't he? He said he's impossible to do it. So, like I say, hopefully the consistency will come. I mean, he's shown consistency over 2 games so far this year, which is probably more than what I've seen from him so far in his whole City career, that he's gone back to back great performances. But like you say, 100% agree. It's got to be your 4, 5, 6 games at stints where he's got a nailed down position in the team and he's showing out week in, week out. So hopefully it will come. And I'd love nothing more than him to have a blinder against Arsenal on Sunday, because that shuts everyone up about the whole big game the conversation as well, whether he can do it in big moments. So hopefully he can pull it out the bag. So I think we've pretty much touched on all the main points from those 2 games. We'll look towards the big game on Sunday now. It's a nervy one. I know you've touched on a little bit that you think it'll probably be a draw. How do you see the game going? Is Arteta going to have the minerals to come out and try and dispatch City on Sunday? They've got a couple of injury options, injuries at the moment, haven't they, Matt? Which I think can be a little bit of a weakness and something we can get at. How do you think you see the game going on the whole on Sunday?
I wouldn't be surprised if they approach it similarly to the Liverpool one. I mean, I know that they're going to be at home, so maybe they'll come out firing a little bit more, but it's just Arsenal, man. They've still not proven to me that they've got what it takes to go and do it. Yeah, they battered us last season, but we had 10 men and we were in it wasn't us last season ever. No. Yeah. Like I think Bernardo Silva did an interview the other day and he said something like, you know, we're not even like that game didn't even happen in our minds, like that we've put that way away. But yeah, I would expect it to go. You know which game I think it's going to be similar to when we played them at the Emirates, not last season, the season before. So the season after the treble season. I remember we had like a makeshift midfield of like Nunes and Kovacic, and because like Rodri was injured or something, or he's suspended. Or
the
something.
4 in a row season, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think that was 1-1 or 1-0 to them, where like at the end it went off Ake or something like that. It was 90th minute or something. I
remember it, yeah.
So a bit of a stalemate the majority of the game, and then maybe someone nicks at the end, or maybe someone gets a late equaliser. I see it going something like that. It's hard to call, innit? It's hard to call, but I just don't. I can't see us getting battered by them again.
No,
basically.
I can't see a repeat of last year. No way. Not the 5-1 like last year. I personally hope that Arteta goes into this game on Sunday thinking he can do that to us again. Because I kind of want to draw them out of this kind of shithouse the way to a 1-0 or a 0.
I know.
So I'm hoping that 5-1 kind of goes in our favour when we see the Arteta lineup. I mean, there's a lot of talk about he's under a lot of pressure this year to deliver something for Arsenal. So I feel like he's got to go for it more, hasn't he? Because he's had a lot of stick in the past about getting 0-0s against City and him celebrating it after the game and it's a great result getting a draw against City, and then they always come up short at the end of the season. So I personally don't think he can shithouse this anymore. And in my opinion, I think that suits us down to the ground better, especially with this direct play that we've got coming forward at the moment. Even with like Donnarumma going a little bit long, we're going a little bit more direct to Haaland. I think it could work out in our favour if Arteta comes and thinks he can beat us.
I think you're on something there, to be fair. But I think in my head it's just like I've just still got this like, you know, such rigid style of Arsenal in my head, and I can't see them playing any other way. And if it is the case that they play the way we think they're going to, I can't see us getting many chances. And we've been clinical of late, like in the last 2 games, but can I see us, say we get 3 chances, can I see us finishing all of them? No. Like, you know, I can see us getting 1 goal, but that's like, I think it'll take a lot for us to get 1 goal because they're just so stubborn and they're so boring. And but I'd absolutely love it if we go there.
Haaland's got to put it away because it's probably gonna. Yeah, it's Kevin Keegan.
It's like Kevin Keegan. Yeah, I would love it if we go there.
I think it's gonna fall to Haaland, and I think this year especially, he just looks. Again, similar to how we've spoke about Foden, he just looks like he's got that confidence and love of scoring goals back. There was a little bit of a period last year in the back half of the season where I was pretty critical of Haaland, and I got a lot of stick for it, to be fair. And even in the first couple of games this season, I just expect so much from him because I know what he's capable of. I know, obviously, the contract that City have put him on, the best paid player on a 10-year contract. He's part of the captain's group now. So I just needed more from him in the whole scheme of things during the game. I have no question about his ability to put the ball in the back of the net. I just want more from him, which I've seen the last few games. He is knocking defenders about. He is holding the ball up and bringing people into play. He was playing centre-back the other day against Manchester United, being one of our best defenders from set pieces.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what I've been calling off from Erling Haaland. And he's playing with that confidence now as well. And when he gets into a run of form like this, and he is putting his chances away, he's very, very hard to stop, which we all know from the previous seasons. So if the ball does fall to him, I have no doubt he'll put it away. This season.
Yeah, I back him. I think there's been it's weird to question him on his mentality, but at the end of the season, compared to now, there's been a mentality shift. Like now, if he gets a penalty, I don't think he's giving it to Marmoush, is he? After the FA Cup final.
Yeah, which was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that alone was
it's just not in that
losing
at
the
all,
game.
is it?
It's
just not Erling Haaland at all.
It's so weird because years gone by, he's so selfish for the records, and so this is they're my goals, and it was bizarre, but it does look like he's back now, and he seems to have a. I said to my dad, actually, after the derby, that was a captain's performance from Haaland. I know you mentioned he's in the leadership group now, but I unbelievable. He's instructing people, he's screaming, he's shouting, he's leading the press, he's winning headers from corners and all that kind of stuff. And that's what he needs to be doing. If the rest of the team need him, he needs to be there. And last season, he was kind of just waiting around for everyone else to click. So then the chances will come. But no, Erling, you need to get involved, and he's been doing it. So hopefully he can
by the scruff of its neck, like
our
favourite saying.
Well, hopefully he can grab Gabriel by the scruff of the neck. You know what I mean? Because that's some little rivalry there. Yeah. So could be spicy. Spicy, that.
I'm expecting it to be, actually, because Gabriel's probably got the better of him the last couple of times since the whole when he threw the ball at the back of his head after Stones.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
That was great.
To be fair, that was the best moment last season. That wasn't it? It was quite early on, but it was probably the best moment of the season.
And that's a sad thing for us to say, Matt. That was probably the highlight of last season. A 2-2 draw against Napoli.
Or the Forest semi-final. Maybe that. But
there wasn't.
You don't win a trophy for that,
overall, was it? Yeah.
No.
So,
but
we've spoke about then how we expect Arteta to set up. Will it be different?
Yeah.
What are we saying now for Pep Guardiola? Obviously, he's gone back-to-back games now, which is unlike him, where he's gone an unchanged 11. But this is the 3rd game in 7 days against tough opposition, all 3 games as well. Well, I don't know whether I'd throw United into that tough opposition because they're shit, but it was still a Manchester derby. It was still a game that you've got to get up for, and had big consequences if we didn't win that game, especially after the 2 games before it. So it's the 3rd high-pressure game in a row. Do you think Pep Guardiola is going to play an unchanged 11? And if you don't, then what kind of things would you expect to see change?
For me, he can't. But I thought that going into Napoli, so I'm happy to be surprised. But I think the back four might tweak a little bit. I think what I mentioned before, I think Gvardiol, maybe we'll see him at left back, bit more defensive assurance.
Yeah.
And then maybe hopefully it's Stones. If not, maybe Ake comes in centre half. Hopefully Kusanov stays right back. So Diaz centre half as well. Rodri, that's probably my biggest question mark.
Yeah,
because
it is. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Like you say, at the end of the derby, he looked absolutely shot. Napoli, obviously, he comes off, and there's talk that he might not be all right to start the game, might not be all right to play a lot of minutes of the game. So I don't know. I think if he can play, you play him. But going off last season, I don't want to risk any sort of injury. And I really rate Nico Gonzalez. Don't get me wrong, he's not Rodri 2.0. But he's a very, very good player. He's a very solid option.
He is, yeah.
And I wouldn't hate Nico playing. I'd understand it, to be honest with you.
Could you see a world where both of those start next to each other?
Yeah, definitely, because at the end of the day, you could have Rodri kind of having a bit more of a, I don't know, less involved role, if you will. Nico covering more ground to preserve Rodri's energy for the whole 90 minutes. Maybe you could see that, and I wouldn't mind that. I actually wrote an article for the City Ramble saying that maybe that'd be the way, Nico and Rodri playing together in like bigger games. But then of course we mentioned before, that means does Reijnders drop out? I don't know. It's tough. I don't know what you're thinking with the midfield, but I'm going to say Rodri because he's our best player.
I think even if it's just for like we've spoke about a confidence thing going into games, like when we've seen Phil Foden on the team sheet in the derby on Sunday, even if it's just a case of, I think the whole team in general just feels a lot more comfortable when Rodri's in the starting 11. And I think if that uplifts the rest of the team, even if he's still only at 60-70% of what we expect from Rodri, I think he just improves everyone around him too much for us to leave him out. So I think he does start, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's worth saying, like, for me anyway, I think the Napoli game was actually his best performance since coming back from injury for me. I think he looked really good. So yeah, like, listen, I'm not complaining if Rodri starts the City against Arsenal, but
no.
And then I saw a comment there, Savio in for Bernardo, and I'll be honest, I think the brief cameos Savio's shown, I don't think he's looked anywhere near it yet. Obviously, he needs a bit of rhythm, he needs the minutes, but I wouldn't start Savio, but.
It's a little bit of a risk, I think, in the Arsenal game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pep always just loves to fall back on to your Bernardos and obviously we've seen it with Gundogan's and Kovacic's last year. He just loves these in the big games. They've all been there before. I know Bernardo's not been amazing, especially like none of us really want to see Bernardo at right wing, do we? Like in the long run.
Not really, no.
He just gives Pep that like assurance and he works hard. He tracks back into the midfield. He doesn't bring loads going forward, but I don't know whether that's going to be Pep's priority against Arsenal from the off anyway at the Emirates.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a tricky one, isn't it? What we do.
Yeah. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm just like, just don't change it. Maybe just an extra defender in for O'Reilly. Like that's it, and move Gvardiol to left back. I think that's probably as much as I'd tweak it. I mean, you could mention Oscar Bob maybe for Bernardo.
Yeah,
he's shown some good glimpses this season, but I don't know. If it's worked the last two games,
he might do the same 11 and end up like tweaking it a little bit, similar to the Napoli game. It was the same 11, but Bernardo was more playing centre midfield and Foden was kind of drifting in from that right-hand side, which I thought was weird, especially with Kusanov at right back. I did not expect to see Kusanov high and wide up the pitch because that wasn't even just that with 10 men. That wasn't even just with 10 men either. He was doing that from the start of the game, and that was then allowing obviously Foden to drift into these central areas. Maybe Pep might look into that where he plays like a Rodri, Bernardo, double pivot, the guys he relies on with Reijnders just in front. And then we'll see a similar thing where we see Foden kind of drifting centrally from that right-hand side. So then it would be the same 11, but a slight tweak from the derby where it's not Bernardo right wing. But again, you don't really want to sacrifice your Foden being central all the time, do you?
No, I know. That's what I was thinking before. Like, maybe one of Bernardo or Reijnders drop to the bench, which obviously is unfair. But then that kind of means that Foden has to be right wing, and I don't. We've obviously just mentioned how important it is for him to be in the middle. Do you think there's a world where, I know we've touched on Lewis and Nunes, do you think there's a world where one of them start right back and Kusanov plays centre half? Because I wouldn't mind Kusanov centre half, but it's that right back spot that I'm just worried about.
I think if you do that, I think if you do choose to do that, I think you've got to go strong left back, so either a Guardiola or an Ake, just because if Nunes is being that guy who's high and wide, then you'd expect a Guardiola or an Ake to drop into a back three in possession. In the game against Brighton, I do not like it at all when we play two attacking fullbacks at the same time.
No,
it does not work. We had Nunes and Aït-Nouri in that game, who both love to go forward, who both love to drop into midfield, and we get left in positions then where sometimes it's their front three against our back two centre backs if we lose the ball in possession. So if we're going to choose to have an attacking fullback, either on the right, like you say, if it's going to be Nunes, I think you've got to have a Guardiola or an Ake at left back then. And similarly, if you wanted to have an Aït-Nouri on the left or an Nico O'Reilly, then I think it's got to be Kusanov on the right hand side. Just because I think you've got to have that assurance of having a solid back three there in case we do lose the ball.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mentioned then Nunes. I can just see. If he starts, I can just see something going wrong there. So let's just stick with Kusanov. Let's just stick with what we know.
We can't risk it in big games. I genuinely. He could have the best game ever, and just one moment could cost us a game. So I don't personally think we can risk it. I think he will go unchanged. I do. Which is crazy to say it across a 7-day period, 3 games in a row, going the exact same 11. But I think he'll probably just be trying to give the fans a little bit as well, where if it's not broke, don't fix it. And
I suppose we got Huddersfield in the week, haven't we? So maybe it's just a case that he goes, right, one last time, this 11, and then Huddersfield completely change it. Like, I'm talking Trafford in, Bob in, maybe Macassar. I don't mind that at all. You know what I mean?
We should be strong enough to navigate Huddersfield with a second string 11 for sure.
Yeah, should do. So maybe that's the thought process. But I just think with Foden and Rodri, they've really not got many minutes in their legs, and to do a third 90 minutes in a week, it's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. But listen, they are athletes at the end of the day. Like, I don't think I could do 20 minutes on the Premier League, let alone 390s. So
crazy. Right, so we've spoke. I know you touched a little bit on your prediction before. We think a draw, Matt. I'm gonna switch this question up a little bit here, right? Just to see if we can get some juicy shithousery out of you. Do you take a draw now? If I offer it to you now, say shake my hand, we get a draw at the Emirates tomorrow, are you taking it?
It sounds so negative, but I probably will. I probably will. Only because, like, a week ago, before the derby, we've just had 2 defeats. Things ain't looking great. And then we've come back. We've beat United. We've beat Napoli. And a draw against, I would have 100% taken that. We even said on the City Ramble pod, we said over the international break, we said out of them 3 games, if you can only win, draw, and lose one of each, which ones are you saying? And I think I said beat United because it's United, draw at the Emirates and lose to Napoli because I was like, we'll let Kev have a bit of fun. Why not? Do you know what I mean? But and I kind of stand by that, like, but in the sense that a draw, Arsenal have looked pretty good this season. We've looked very good in the last week. And I think a draw, it could be a very good point come the end of the season rather than 2 points dropped, in my opinion.
I kind of agree with you. I think we're in a position where, again, it comes back to in the back of my head, whether I've been hoodwinked by these last 2 performances. I still think tomorrow is going to show the levels of where we're really at right now as a club.
Definitely.
I'm trying not to get too excited about beating a shit Manchester United team. I'm trying not to get too excited about obviously beating a Napoli team with 10 men. So I think it's a case of us just trying to steady the ship as much as possible now, and not be in this position where we're all getting our hopes up again. We're all getting excited like we did after the Wolves game, and we might do it again here. And then, do you know, if we do get a pasting on Sunday, we're going to be back to square one again. The fan base is going to be in uproar. We're going to be seeing civil war on Twitter. I think our draw is not a bad result at all at the Emirates, especially after seeing how it went last year.
But I can see a world where we do win. I genuinely can.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think Haaland and Foden at their best alone can really make something happen. They really can. But it's just that stubbornness, the way Arsenal play. I don't think it's, you know, I think we can definitely come away from that game, not win, not even draw, and have been the better team by far.
Yeah.
You know, there's a world in which that happens, but we can win. You know, you need decisions to go your way. You need some of their players to have a slight off day. You need all that. But you know, the last 4 times we've played Arsenal, you know, they're unbeaten in the last 4. At some point, that's got to change. You know what I mean? We can't.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, they've still not won the title, but they've got bragging rights over us in the last few games.
Yeah,
so we
they know how to win football matches, don't they? Or navigate.
They do.
So in shit house it.
They
are Saliba-less and Saka-less though, which I would probably argue that they're probably their 2 best players in my opinion. Maybe you could throw Declan Rice in there and a Gabriel as well, but that is where my belief comes from, that we can beat Arsenal, as I've put in the title. We can beat Arsenal. Whether
we can
definitely will is a lot different, because I wouldn't have gone into the game last year and potentially saying we can beat Arsenal in the state that we was in. Whereas this year I do feel a lot different, even though I think it will be a draw and it will be a little bit of a stalemate chess match. For sure we can beat them. We've got the talent across the pitch. Obviously they've not got the best attacker available. They've not got arguably the best defender available. Haaland's going to be pulling onto a new centre back who's only played a couple of games for Arsenal. So they can be got at. And don't be surprised if we come away from Sunday with a win, people. What's the chat saying anyway? Everyone spam the chat. Do we win on Sunday, or do we draw? Do we lose? I want to hear. There's over 60 people in here now. Just spam in. Do we win? Do we lose? I want to see the general consensus of where people stand with this. What we saying? I'll try and bring them up onto the screen. AK win. There's loads. F it, we win. There's loads of Glazers in here, man. Everyone's proper.
The people are confident. Yeah. I like it.
You've got to back it.
Listen. We've just beaten the Italian champions. We've just beat Man United. I mean, if we can't have a little stroke of confidence going into it, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? What's the point? But yeah, I just can't. I can't get away from just seeing like you said, like a chess match draw. I just can't really get away from that. 2
very stubborn managers, who both won't want to lose this game.
Yeah.
A lot's riding on this match in an hour's time, though, at Liverpool. Maybe that will change.
Come on, Jack.
Depending, if that result goes in our favour, if Everton manage to get a draw or a win, that could completely change how the whole game's set up on Sunday. So all eyes on Liverpool and Everton right now. Come on Everton, come on Jack Grealish, and let's see if they can do us
up the toffees.
Up the toffees. Right, we'll try and wrap up then, Matt. We've gone over an hour now, I did say, but what I do like to ask a couple of questions when we have a guest on, and they're strictly yes or no answers. All right, I've done this with LB a few times, and before we wrap up, let's just get your feelings on a few things. All Man City, what we expect from over the next 6 to 12 months. Will City have a recognised right back before the end of the January transfer window this year?
Do you mean bringing someone in?
Yeah. Do we bring someone in by the end of the January transfer window? Who is? I say a recognised right back. We've got a cousin of Nunes Rico. In my opinion, none of them are recognised right back. So do we have a right back come in by the end of January?
No, I can't see it. No, can't see that.
So we're going forward with the Nunes Rico cousin of trifecta rotated.
It'll be the summer now, in my opinion, mate. I think, you know, if it is a Livramento, or I mean, it's got to be a big. I mean, I think the right back market is a bit bleak, in my opinion. But I think if it is a Livramento, that's a type of deal that's done in the summer, isn't it? Really, the fee, how stubborn Newcastle are going to be. You know, the window's not long enough for that to be done, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
I just hope we're not in a position where we've gone on a stinking run of games again, and the whole conversation from the fan base is all, we need a right back, because then it's going to be a case of we go in and just buy anyone to just come in and fill that role. We need it to be the right guy, don't we?
But one thing I'd say is, like, you know, I'm sure you've said this before, like the amount of successful seasons we've had, and there's always been one or two positions where you go, oof, we could probably do, like the 100-point season. We had Fabian Delph at left back. I think a few people are forgetting, like, you know, we don't have to have world beaters in every single position. I think the important part is having that spine, and that spine is, in the last two games, only just come together. You know, Donnarumma, Diaz, Gvardiol, Rodri, Foden, Haaland. If you've got that, you can win titles. Simple as that, in my opinion. Like
100%.
You know, the treble season, we brought Akanji in. He was supposed to be like our fourth choice centre half and a bit of a versatility player. He ended up becoming one of the most important players. So, you know, we don't know what.
And centre back,
yeah, exactly. So we don't know what's going to happen. But I think the team we've got right now definitely can do the business and win the league. I don't think a right back is that important, but I think it's that important if you have Núñez starting every week, you know, because the mistakes are that stark. But yeah, so I think no on that one.
I love it, mate. Next one. Will Man City win a trophy this year?
Yeah.
I
think the Carabao Cup's coming back to the Etihad. I think it's been too long.
That's our bread and butter.
It's been too long. It is. To be fair, honestly, I miss it. And, like, you know, the Wembley defeat last year, I think we need to get that in the past and get a domestic cup. Champions League, I think that's going to be too difficult this season. So maybe one of the League Cup or the FA Cup. And listen, the Premier League, if we're in it, yeah, we'll I back us to do it, especially over Arsenal. But the football gods are with Liverpool at the moment, aren't they? But I suppose we'll see in an hour and a bit time or whatever. You never know. Football can change very quickly, can't it?
We will. Now, this one's a little bit of a tricky one, because I have had a few different answers, believe it or not. But I feel like I know where you're going to go with this one. Will Pep Guardiola be here at the start of the 26-27 season?
I think it depends a lot on what success we have. You know, say we win a Premier League title, I can see him going out on a high.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a lot of sense with, you know, last season made us City fans, well, especially a certain generation of City fans, come back down to earth and a pinch of reality. Like, you know, you don't win everything every season. That's not normal. Like, that isn't normal. And having last season when we don't win anything, even going to an FA Cup final, I think if we were to have some success this season, I think it would make sense for him to go out on a high. And ultimately that's what we want for Pep. We want it to go out on a good note, not a sour one.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest risk of him leaving. I can see him going out on a high, like you say. Right, I think if we go another year without winning trophy, I think he'll want to stay again. I think Definitely. Our biggest threat to our manager right now is if we do find that success again. Because, like you say, I think he will go out on a high.
But if there's not that, I mean, I know, like, the club, you've seen all the documentaries, they're planning years and years in advance of, like, who they're going to bring in players-wise, and they'll probably be doing the same with managers. But ultimately, there's got to be the right candidate there, and if not, then I'm sure Pep will stay an extra year just to steady ship for one more. I mean, he's literally the best manager in the world, so I wouldn't complain if he has another contract extension on top of that. He's not even ruled that out. He said a few times, like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm just enjoying it at the moment, basically, and I'm all for that. But yeah, I think if we have quite a lot of success this season, which I'm 50-50 on, I think if we do, I think he'll go out on a high. I do.
So, will he be here next year?
Oh man,
it's a tough year.
My head and my heart are just having a little battle right now. I'm gonna say he is. I'm gonna be realistic and say we might not have an unbelievable season in terms of success.
Yeah.
And then maybe next season, I don't know. If he wins another treble, I won't complain.
Yeah, exactly. That's the sad thing, isn't it? Where if we do have the success this year, we're losing our best manager of all time, the best manager in the world. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation to be in. Right, last one before we go. I know I've probably kept you for longer than I promised, so I appreciate.
That's cool, man. It's fun. It's good fun.
Are we still in a title race, Matt?
Yeah, mate. We're in the title race until it's mathematically impossible, in my opinion. We've shown time and time again we can do it when we're so many points behind. I think Pep said in a press conference the other day, you know, the majority of the time, come Christmas or whatever, come the winter, we're not normally top of the league anyway. I think the 100-point season is probably the only anomaly where we just stormed it from from game day one to the last game of the season. I think you can never rule us out. Like I say, with that spine, we've got the personality in the squad, the winning know-how that Pep has and the players do, and as well, let's be honest, we're just mint as well. Like, let's be honest, some of the players we've got, they're absolute world beaters. So yeah, we're defo in it. We're right in it.
I like it, mate. I love the positive here. You're bringing my vibe. You're bringing my vibe up. Everyone's telling me I'm too negative all the time, so I feel refreshed. I feel positive going into the game tomorrow, and I'm even going to hate watch Liverpool now and be cheering everyone.
Yeah, mate. I'm going to join you with that.
I love it, mate. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. We've had a good long chat. People, I've put all Matt's socials in the description. He's just started up on YouTube as well, I believe. So I'll stick the link in there for you to all go and check out his Twitter. I think I've seen you on TikTok. I think I came across you for the first time on TikTok. So I've stuck that on there as well. Really insightful videos, not just moaning like me all the time. Obviously, check out the City Ramble as well. Keep an eye out for him on Sky Sports. You say you're going on later today as well?
Yeah, I think about 7:30, 7:45. I'm going on debating with an Arsenal fan, so that should be good fun.
He's downgrading from J Talk Sport to Sky Sports later on today, man.
Mate, the thing I'm doing for Sky Sports, honestly.
Yeah, levels to this game. But obviously, I really appreciate you coming on, mate. It's been a blast. So yeah, go and check him out, guys. And we'll probably catch you. I'll probably go live after the Arsenal game, and hopefully it'll be a really positive experience.
Hopefully. Touch wood, man. Touch wood.
But until then, if you're still in here, hit the likes up. You know the crack. Subscribe, all that business. I'm not the best at saying it. I feel a bit beggy still until I'm a full-time content creator. So yeah, you know what to do, guys. Thanks again, Matt, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you later.
Cheers, Jay.